I wish to welcome you here at the Swiss Press Club for this press conference about the launch of the Emotional Wellbeing Institute. We are very, sorry, um, sorry, I cannot speak. Sorry. We are very happy to welcome you here at the Swiss Press Club for this press meeting. And I think it's a very interesting topic. We are very curious to know what about Wellbeing Institute. We have some questions and we have also some followers on the video who are following our press conference today. And before to give you the floor, I would like to ask you to sign our golden book. And after I will give the floor to Professor Basseer for introducing the. No, just here. Just now. Okay, thank you. And now, Professor Basseer, you have the floor. Oh, you can speak from there. Up to you. Ah, okay, good. Just push the button in case, but that's done here. That's done here. Oh, it's okay.
Okay. I nearly said good morning, but it's good afternoon. C'est après-midi. Thank you very much for coming and joining us this afternoon. We are very, very honored to have you present. And thank you for welcoming our team over here. We got Yannick, we have Lamine, we have Ali, and there are two members not present here. Asia too, who got very, very sick. She traveled from Paris, and her apologies, she's not able to be here. And our last colleague at the end is Professor Sundaram Sivamale. He's in Australia, and I have got a small message from him, so I'll read his message at the end. I am Basseer. I don't like to use my title, Professor or Doctor. Just please call me Basseer. And people say I'm very humble, and I want to be humble. I want to be, down-to-earth person. We are very excited to be here because we're going to talk about the establishment of an emotional well-being institute. An institute is quite a big entity, can be as big as a university, can be as big as situated in a region of the world, or a nation, or interconnected with different parts of the world. We are still very, very early in it's not a project, it's a program, very, very early at our program, and it's evolving. We have established this, and it's registered in Geneva, the Emotional Wellbeing Institute. We're calling it Emotional Wellbeing Institute Geneva at the moment. It's registered here. So we are very, very pleased to share the information with you. As you can see on the title, I've got the big red C, the copyright, because when we look at the model, it's quite unique. I've done a lot of research. We talk about emotional well-being. We talk about psychosocial issues, psychosocial needs of individuals, of communities, of groups, of nations, or sometimes we use the term mental health or mental ill health. We have used a more of a positive term, emotional well-being, And we very strongly believe that emotional well-being is the basis for everything. If you are not stable in yourself, if your emotion is not stable, then we cannot get ourselves engaged in lots of other things. Our family life, our community life, our occupational life, and so on and so forth. So this is why we are very, very passionate about the term. And I would like to share some of the information from our program, and I'll be most happy to answer any questions, either after my presentation, or you can decide when to ask questions, or after my presentation. But anyway, I'll be free to answer any questions. You might ask me, as part of your question, is where did you get this idea from? I personally have been developing these ideas, culturing it for a number of years. It's not a unidisciplinary idea. It's a multidisciplinary idea. And I'm going to use the word not holistic, but the word pluralistic. Plural means very many facets, very many systems. For example, I've got a very diverse background, and that's where the idea has emerged. I've got a health background. I've worked in the UK for a number of years, and I was a Foundation Regional Director for Professional Development and Continuing Professional Education for one of the regional health authority south of England. So I've got a very strong health background. I've also got a strong mental health background. My doctorate is in mental health from University of La Trobe in Melbourne, Australia. So I've got that as part of my pluralistic approach. I've also got a very strong educational background. I've got a master's in education from University of Western Australia, and I've used that in very diverse educational field. I've got a very strong community background. I was a foundation president of the Multicultural Council in Australia, Regional Multicultural Council. And we worked as a group, as a consortium, to work with diverse cultures and also to work with what we call humanitarian entrance. I don't like to use the word refugees, because they have people who have been refugees in their own countries, but when they settle in a new country, it's a positive term, and I like that term. We came up with that term. It's called humanitarian entrance. So we worked with those people, and we developed a number of new projects to settle them. I've worked at universities at professorial level, and I've also been the dean for international program for health. And I've been very actively involved in setting up programs in different parts of the world, from Canada to Singapore, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, Japan, New Zealand, even England, South Africa, and a number of countries. So when I use the term pluralistic, that is very influential for me. I wouldn't be able to develop the framework for this particular program, establishment of an Institute for Emotional Wellbeing, if I didn't have those background. So I'm putting all those information together, all the experiences together, all the knowledge together to really come up with this particular idea. I'm very concerned, and I've been concerned for a long, long while about what's happening in the world. Really, really concerned about what's been happening in the world. We are not, in a way, resolving the emotional well-being of individuals, groups, nations, and globally. When we look at the trend of mental health problem, it's increasing. When we look at depression, suicidal rate, it's increasing. When you look at work situation, we have bullying, harassment, backbiting. We have burnout, bore-out. We have toxic work environment, toxic management. So therefore, if we have those sort of issues present in a work situation, you cannot be as effective, as productive as possible. So therefore, we need to make individuals feel happy, feel flourish within themselves, feel satisfied. then they can be productive. It doesn't matter where they are, it's across the board. Okay? So this is in a way, the background where I'm coming from. Now the title of this, this is our logo. It says leveraging emotional well-being towards flourishing societies and nation. So in a nutshell, this is our main objective. How can we leverage, how can we push forward, upward, societies and nations to become more of a flourishing society? So when you look at the experience of emotional well-being, the experience of emotional well-being is multi-dimensional. It's not just one dimension, it's multi-dimensional. We talk about it embraces being fully engaged. How can you work together? The collaboration, the cooperation, working with each other, departments working with each other, and so on and so forth. So we need to be fully engaged. The authentic empowerment. The word empowerment is bandedly used. I'm going to empower this person. I'm going to empower that organization. But really, sometimes it can be very, very subjective. We do that in a very, what we call, technical, rational way. The input, the throughput, and the output. There's no authenticity. And the word I'm going to use is the emancipatory approach, the emancipation. So when you're really empowering individuals or groups or countries or nations, we need to have that sort of commitment from each other. The authentic, not just for the sake of doing it, not just to show the public, not just to show people that you are empowering. You can be. You're in the public figure, you're a public figure, you're showing what you're doing, but the commitment is not there, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we need to be more authentic. Mobilizing individual capacity. We talk about capacity building. And my colleagues here, I'm very, very proud to have these colleagues as part of my team, because when you look at them individually, they have got this strength within themselves, that resilience, the intrinsic power, devotion, motivation to really create that capacity building. So we are handpicking individuals who are working with us. Relating to others, physical, intellectual vitality, a true sense of purpose, rising levels of sustenance and dignity. So I've got a model here. It's not my model. It's from Martin Seligman. I quite like that. And he talks about the flourishing or the flourishing society. And he has mentioned 5 elements to a flourishing society. The whole idea of positive emotion. Positive emotions are an essential part of our well-being. Happy people look back on the past with gladness, look into future with hope, and they enjoy and cherish the present. I've done a fair bit of research with older people, and I've also written a book called Successful Aging, Perspectives on Health and Social Construction. When I look at the older population, for example, quite a large number of people become very depressed, because when they reach 60 plus, 70, they look back at their lives and they question to what extent I'm fulfilled, to what extent I have achieved my things. And they become depressed because they feel that they have not achieved what they're supposed to have achieved, or they should have achieved, but sometimes it's too late. So we got that sort of thing happening. Relationships, everyone needs someone. We enhance our well-being and share it with others by building strong relationships with the people around us, family, friends, co-workers, and neighbors. I read somewhere that we live in a society which is narcissistic. We have a narcissistic society, meaning we are very conscious of ourselves, not so much other people. We have become egocentric. We have become self-centered. Egocentric means I can do that. That's my idea, not your idea. Why should I work with you? Why should I collaborate with you? I'm quite happy to do things by myself. So when you look at individualistic approach, it's very, very common. It's getting more common. Even from a country, from a nation's perspective, we have become narcissistic. I want to be better than the other countries, other nations. So I bring in a lot of competition. So we become very competitive. And hence, lead on to conflict. So we got that. Then we got accomplishment. Everyone needs to win something, or sometimes. To achieve well-being and happiness, we must be able to look back on our lives with a sense of accomplishment. I did it, and I did it well. That's self-reinforcing. I've been invited to do a presentation, today's seminar overseas, and the topic I've just sent yesterday is who are you? Who are you? Not what you are, but who are you? So my question is, do we understand ourselves sufficiently? Do I understand myself? That's the first question. If I do understand myself effectively, then I can connect with other people. So we've got a lot of work to be done in that area. Engagement, when we focus on doing the things we truly enjoy and care about, we can begin to engage completely with the present moment and enter the state of being known as flowing, okay? And lastly, meaning, we are at our best when we dedicate time to something greater than ourselves. This might be religious, faith, community work, family, politics, charity, or professional or creative work. One of the biggest motivating factor is a sense of achievement. If you have this sense of achievement, we feel good. And the other word I'm going to use is something to look forward to. Anticipation. If you have something to look forward to, anticipation. For example, this particular program makes me very happy because I'm looking forward to its success and looking forward to it making contribution to the world. I feel very, very happy. So we have to be from that. Now, emotional well-being remains a challenge in our world. Experiencing emotional well-being as a condition precedent to enhancing resilient society and economy. Like I said earlier on, if we don't feel emotionally well, if we don't feel that we are flourishing in our society, might as well forget about other things. If you're not happy, we are preoccupied with our happiness or unhappiness. So first and foremost is we got to be fulfilled. Empowering the individual to identify their own warranted intervention in their pathways. We need to have pathways. Minimizing rampant individualism within a respectful framework, enhancing innovation, creativity, and acceptance. Like I mentioned earlier on, it's all right to have individualism. You've got to love yourself first. You've got to value yourself first. You've got to say to yourself, yes, I'm a man of principle or a person of principle. So you respect yourself. You have high dignity. And I think if you can do that, then you can see the same sort of elements in other people. Leveraging flourishing individuals and community that feel goodness about their increasing levels of life sustenance and dignity. Okay, so that's a challenge. Now, we have emotional well-being is a challenge in the world. In the world, it doesn't matter where you are. You can be in a small island. You can be in a very big continent. It doesn't matter where you are, rural, regional, city. You know, it becomes a challenge. It's a challenge everywhere. And based on my observation, based on my research, it remains a challenge. It continues to be a challenge. This is where we come in, trying to address some of these challenges and minimize some of these challenges. We cannot address everything and anything, but at least we can start off. I believe that what we are creating is ripples, just like a pond, clear water. You drop a little pebble, a caillou. When you dress that caillou, the pebble, we create waves. So this emotional well-being, what we're developing, we are hopeful that it's like a pebble and it will ripple to other part of the globe and so on. And we are all vulnerable to emotional well-being setback. Vulnerability affect our personal, professional, families, community, work lives, and so on. We are all vulnerable. We are all vulnerable here. Whether it's a child, an adolescent, an adult, an elderly person, a person who works in industry, a minister, a director, a lady, a gentleman. It doesn't matter who you are, we are all vulnerable. I don't have time to cite examples of a situation who I deal with, and I can cite a long list of examples of people who are really, really, really vulnerable. Okay? Now, we have issues about special group in our community, where we talk about people with disability. We talk about people with mental illnesses. We talk about older person and so on and so forth. Sometimes we talk about the humanitarian entrance, the refugees, and other people. They are more vulnerable, and they remain vulnerable. So therefore, we need to do something about it. Now, this is also a critique of mine, an observation of mine. We believe that the richer a nation, the richer the country, that will equate to happiness. But it's a fallacy. Okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that if a country has high GDP, the population will be a happy population. Lots of research are available there. Higher GDP doesn't mean to say that the nation is happy. Here, yet again, we have become very materialistic. We are chasing for big houses, big cars, 2 cars, 3 cars, big job, fantastic payment, and so on and so forth. Yet, you know, the happy level is not justified, if you like. So critics argue that GDP is a flawed metric of global development. There are very poor countries. When you look at Bhutan, for example, next to Nepal there, that's supposed to be one of the happiest countries. They are not chasing GDP. Their GDP is very low, but they're very, very happy. Okay? So we got to look into that. Oh. So the responsibility is everybody's responsibility. Yours, mine, and ours. It's not just one department, one person, one organization responsibility. So it's everybody's responsibility to do something about our world. Everybody's commitment, everybody's contribution. And I've got the word here, minimizing the sleeping pill remedy as part of iatrogenic or iatrogenesis. Ali will say a few words about that later on. But it's a medical, could be a medical term. It's a Greek word, iatrogenesis. So if there's a doctor, medical doctor, gives a wrong diagnosis to his patient, to his client, and that will follow a wrong treatment. So more harm can be done. So the term iatrogenic or iatrogenesis is used. And I have turned that word into our system. If you really look at, observe the harm we're creating to ourselves, it's not a harm done by the medical people and so on, but the harm we're creating to ourselves because of our value system, our set of principles. We're continuously creating harm. And it's not one day we don't see the harm we've been creating to the world, whether by war, by conflicts, political conflicts, upheavals, and so on and so forth. So I would use the term iatrogenesis. Iatrogenesis. So we got the inherent responsibilities for all of us. So experiencing emotional well-being must be a precedent towards a strong, resilient, and flourishing society. And leveraging emotional well-being needs to be undertaken with civil societies and global intersectoral collaboration. Achievement of the UN 2030 SDGs agenda, societies, global institutions must be more inclusive and accountable to designing and implementation of programs in emotional well-being. So we have very, very closely observed the 2030 SDG goal. And there are 3 of them specifically which are relevant to our work. Goal number 3, which is good health and well-being. Goal number 16, strong institutions. And goal number 17, partnerships for the goals. So what we're proposing to do is taking that good health and well-being as an element. So emotional well-being will fit in that sector. But the way we're doing, we are not just working by ourselves. We will be collaborating with a number of organizations in different parts of the world. Truly, truly in a synergetic way. Synergy. All right? And then, hence, we are proposing that we develop a consortium. We have already started developing a consortium. Lamine, for example, he got his own organization in Africa. He's the president of his own organization. So he's been invited to be part of our consortium. Asia too, who is not here, she has also got her own organization, and so are the other people. So we are proposing to work together as a consortium. That's the only way we can resolve. One person cannot, one organization cannot. And there are lots of organizations in our world which are struggling. We do have umpteen numbers of faculties, departments about mental health or emotional well-being or psychology and so on and so forth. But they seem to be working independently. We need to have more of a synergy to be able to make a difference. This is all the SDGs. So we got the goal 3, good health and well-being, peace, justice, and strong institution. The peace, justice will be looking at accountability. There's also a lack of accountability in what we're doing in our world. So we'll be exploring that. And partnership for the goal. That's the only way to achieve things. We've got to be working together. Now, the capacity statement is, why do we have this institute? The capacity statement is, it's a way forward to address the challenges and to minimize the social issues through strengthening the emotional well-being of our nations. The emotional well-being framework shall be conceptualized as collective action for sustained population-wide improvement in emotional well-being. Public health strategies such as advocacy, public health education, communication, policy and legislative changes, communities and regional participation, research and evaluation shall be used to enhance the emotional well-being. And lastly, the framework of the Institute shall demonstrate the effectiveness of strategies, programs, and processes. So this is the framework for collaboration. It will be a dynamic entity. It shall combine technical expertise of general emotional well-being concern to realize the program. The Institute shall work in partnership and in synergy with organizations to deliver a variety of best practice models in services, advices, strategies, research, advocacies, consultancies, and with reciprocal benefit. And the Institute shall be an alliance between global members from within nations and regions. And the Institute model shall be based on a lead provider model. So we're hoping to have a leadership somewhere that will provide, okay? Sorry, I won't be long, just a couple of more slides. The impact, I've got the impact. It will be an innovative institute in governance, in research, innovation, education and strategy, strategic portfolio, in community engagement, professional development portfolio, and preventing iatrogenic notion. So, a lot of work to be done. This is just in a nutshell, the sort of ideas, the concepts we have. We are working on that gradually, but we are very, very determined to make it happen. We are gaining, we are getting some progress. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be happy to answer questions later on. Is it okay? Can I stop here?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Sorry, when I talk about my colleague, I've got some messages that I can do that here.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So, we follow. Okay, please, Mr. Dianko.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Directeur. Mesdames, Messieurs, chers amis, camarades de la société civile, je suis très heureux de me retrouver parmi vous et de partager un moment de nos travaux de lancement de EWBI. Permettez-moi d'exprimer tout d'abord ma gratitude aux autorités suisses, notamment la CAGI, pour leur initiative, leur accueil et leur généreuse hospitalité. Je voudrais aussi remercier chaleureusement le Club de la presse suisse, grâce à la coopération de laquelle se tient ce lancement de EWBI. Enfin, je tiens à remercier tous les journalistes et intellectuels ici présents, dont je crois le rôle de fédérateur des opinions plus important que jamais. Parce que les hommes sont différents, parce que les nations sont différentes. Il n'y a pas de rapport pacifique possible entre eux et qu'ils se connaissent, se reconnaissent et se respectent dans leur diversité. La diversité des races, des langues, des religions, des mœurs, des systèmes politiques est une donnée de l'humanité. Elle fait d'ailleurs toute sa richesse. Et quels que soient les brassages des populations, les échanges d'idées et d'informations entre les hommes, les progrès des sciences et des techniques, la prééminence de tel ou tel modèle économique, politique ou social, la diversité devra rester la règle. Dès lors, chaque individu, chaque peuple doit faire un effort sur lui-même, non seulement pour admettre que d'autres puissent penser à se comporter différemment, mais aussi pour se persuader que sa façon d'être à lui n'est pas supérieure à celle d'autrui. L'Institut du bien-être émotionnel EWBI est convaincu que le bien-être émotionnel est un précédent pour une société et une économie forte, résiliente et florissante. L'objectif de EWBI est d'exploiter le bien-être émotionnel au profit des sociétés, des nations florissantes et unies. EWBI est déterminé pour aider à contribuer de toutes les manières possibles pour tirer parti du processus d'une paix durable et de la prévention de notre société. Présenter la philosophie de EWBI et la manière dont nous prenons une part active à la promotion du bien-être émotionnel au profit des sociétés, des nations prospères et en paix. Nous avons des objectifs, bien sûr, dont nous allons vous en citer 5. Le développement professionnel, qui est une base de la société, la recherche et le développement, l'engagement communautaire, mondialisation et éducation. Ce sont 5 principaux facteurs fondamentaux qui font que la société ne peut être mise à l'écart. Tous ces objectifs ne peuvent être mis sans aucun complément d'enrichissement de nos différences culturelles, sociologiques et d'intelligence émotionnelle. Nous enrichir de nos différences. Je donnerai l'exemple toujours par rapport à l'Afrique. Si l'Europe et l'Afrique possèdent des valeurs communes dont certaines sont universelles, il ne se servirait à rien de masquer leurs différences culturelles. Le vrai danger n'est ni dans la différence, ni dans l'altérité, qui sont des sources d'enrichissement mutuel. Il est plutôt dans leur propre ontologie de la différence et dans la réquisition existentielle de l'altérité, et plus encore dans la différence. Le dialogue authentique part tout à la fois de l'identification des valeurs communes, des fonctions partagées et de la reconnaissance des différences. C'est de cette double attitude qu'au-delà de la tolérance peut naître l'acceptation de la communauté et de la diversité. Communauté et diversité sont valables au sein d'une même civilisation, voire d'une même culture. Comment ne le serait-elle pas d'une civilisation à une autre, d'une culture à une autre? Comment les civilisations pourraient-elles dialoguer et partant d'enrichir si elles n'étaient que des civilisations clones? Communauté et diversité sont consubstantielles au genre humain. C'est pourquoi le but du dialogue euro-africain est le rapprochement des hommes dans la fraternité et la solidarité. Mais il ne peut être de dissoudre la diversité dans l'homogénéité, donc moule unique. Une telle idée contredirait au demeurant tout ce que nous savons de la vie même et de toute manifestation. Tout cela se réalise dans une intelligence qui est surtout émotionnelle. L'intelligence émotionnelle, introduit au début des années 90, le concept d'intelligence émotionnelle qui reconnaît l'importance de la direction, de l'expression, de la compréhension, de la gestion des émotions, a été considéré depuis comme la solution à un large éventail de problèmes sociaux. Un usage stratégique de l'intelligence émotionnelle dans les organisations peut ainsi en faire une arme redoutable au service de comportements mal intentionnés. D'une part, maîtriser ses émotions permet de masquer ses véritables intentions, et savoir reconnaître les émotions des autres peut aider à les manipuler dans un sens contraire à leurs intérêts. Elle compte plus que le quotient intellectuel dans la réussite sociale et professionnelle. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui aussi pour vous parler notamment de la casquette que je porte en qualité directeur cluster pour l'Afrique de l'Ouest, qui constituerait pratiquement 14 pays d'Afrique de l'Ouest, avec lesquels nous aurons une collaboration étroite, notamment la société civile. Chacun y apportera, chacune de ces entités apportera une part de responsabilité selon ce que nous allons faire. Je ne me permettrai pas d'aller en avant. Je pense que je vais m'arrêter ici. Je vous remercie vivement de votre attention. Merci.
Merci. C'est M. Noah Dubos qui va continuer.
Merci, mesdames, messieurs, bonjour. Je me présente brièvement, je vous fais un petit partage un petit peu atypique, un petit peu divergent de ce qui a été présenté là maintenant, qui s'imbrique avec notre institution Emotional Wellbeing. Déjà tout d'abord, voilà, moi je suis le directeur Europe donc de cette institution. Pour simplifier et puis partager, on va dire massivement ce qui se passe, mais globalement, dans un niveau percutant, Emotional Wellbeing, c'est plusieurs structures d'activités basées pas seulement sur le mouvement, mais pour la génération et la création du progrès et de l'accomplissement dans plusieurs corps de métier ou plusieurs spécificités, dont notamment une où je vais en parler parce que ça touche plus ou moins tout le monde à travers le mouvement, c'est le sport. Le sport qui génère tout un tas de choses. Aujourd'hui, déjà ici à Genève, on a plusieurs collaborations étroites avec plusieurs organisations au niveau sportif, que ce soit Sport Alliance Invest, le management dans les métiers du sport, Stark Gym, ici basé à Genève, basé sur la promotion et la performance des athlètes, et tout un cadre de programmes que l'on a mis à disposition et en place au profit des institutions, des sociétés, des entreprises, monsieur et madame, tout le monde, des groupes, pour pouvoir générer et optimiser des facultés individuelles collectives, que ce soit dans un organisme ou pas. Je vais toucher un petit sujet qui est simple. Aujourd'hui, on voit énormément de personnes qui sont dans l'activité que ce soit de par un organisme ou une société, une infrastructure, une corporate, peu importe. Et quand on prend individuellement la réalité d'un manque de résultats par rapport à ce qu'il se passe, c'est généralement basé sur une souffrance, qui est la cause de quelque chose et qui crée un effet qui se duplique parce que la source n'a pas été traitée. Et on voit aujourd'hui énormément de structures qui n'ont pas appliqué le bon management parce qu'ils ont appliqué l'activité au profit d'un service commun collectif sans pour autant générer un profit qui va amener à créer du progrès dans cette infrastructure ou cette organisation ou peu importe. Il y a une souffrance à tout et cette souffrance, son déclencheur, c'est d'être que partiellement présent ou engagé ou actif dans l'exploitation d'une propriété qui n'est une entreprise ou autre chose. Pourquoi je dis partiellement présent ? Aujourd'hui, on sait que tout ce qui ne vit pas se dégrade. Donc, ça crée une forme de torture, qu'elle soit émotionnelle, mentale, psychologique ou physique et physiologique. Ce qui va déclencher des mots MAUX et ne pas permettre d'optimiser ou de générer du progrès et des résultats, car le but collectif est la loyauté, que ce soit dans les affaires, dans les relations, dans l'amitié, ou peu importe, c'est de générer du score. Si on prend un match de basket, généralement, pour pouvoir avoir l'acclamation ou l'applaudissement de ses spectateurs, de ses supporters et de toute la communauté qui encadre et qui prend soin de l'équipe, c'est de marquer des points et de créer du score. Donc, ça crée quoi ? Quand il n'y a pas suffisamment d'activité basée sur une intelligence neuro-émotionnelle liée à une cohérence, on crée un effondrement et on n'est plus dans le progrès. On est dans la stagnation. Et quand on est dans la stagnation, on perd l'origine de la vision sur laquelle on s'est rattaché au tout départ et on ne crée plus d'accomplissement. On est uniquement sur de l'activité et on se fatigue énormément. Et aujourd'hui, ça crée généralement beaucoup de manque et de vide. Mais le manque et le vide, c'est la sommité unique qui est la cause de l'ignorance basée sur ce que l'on ne va pas chercher et un manque accru de compétences. Et aujourd'hui, pour redynamiser tout ça, c'est de prendre par l'engagement et l'initiative la volonté de prendre par conscience, bon sens, et d'avoir cette aptitude-là, de comprendre qu'on est dans l'obligation de devoir parfois réapprendre certaines choses qu'on a apprises, mais qui ne fonctionnent plus aujourd'hui, pour se réhabiliter à optimiser ses compétences et son potentiel, que ce soit individuel ou collectif. Si on part du principe que notre responsabilité personnelle, c'est de développer et générer du profit, peu importe, on peut en parler sous plusieurs formes, c'est déjà de comprendre qu'au travers de sa propre personnalité, on doit avoir suffisamment d'aisance et de clarté pour pouvoir mettre au profit et générer vraiment cette ascension au niveau de ses propres compétences. C'est déjà le respect qu'on a avec soi-même, le respect qu'on a avec le collectif et notre entourage et l'organisme dans lequel on se situe. C'est déjà par là que ça commence. La deuxième chose, c'est de pouvoir inspirer sa propre personne pour pouvoir amener les autres à s'associer à nous en tant que fédérateur, promotionner quelque chose et mettre à disposition quelque chose de duplicable, facile, qui va permettre de créer encore du progrès et de l'évolution, pour créer du lead et pas uniquement du management basé sur quelque chose qui sera hermétique, fermé, qui s'individualisera et qui ne s'expansera plus à toucher plusieurs corps d'activité pour permettre encore de toucher une multitude de choses pour générer toujours du profit et mettre de la valeur. Il y a une spécificité qui est vraiment importante à revendiquer, c'est au travers le mouvement, même si ce n'est pas parfaitement généré, on va créer de l'expérience, on va générer de l'expérience dans l'entraînement. Si aujourd'hui on se base uniquement sur l'apprentissage théorique, la théorie est très bien, mais la théorie va amener une connaissance qui est basée juste sur l'apprentissage par cœur de quelque chose qui va être retransmis, et à ce moment-là, on va amener des gens à s'attacher à quelque chose qui, au niveau de la rhétorique, paraît parfait, mais dans le cadre de la possibilité de créer la duplication à travers le mouvement, les gens n'ont pas d'expérience. Et il n'y a qu'à travers le mouvement, pour générer de l'accomplissement et se mettre en avant par sa propre responsabilité personnelle, qu'on élèvera réellement ses compétences. Si aujourd'hui, on touche uniquement par son désir personnel de vouloir simplement mettre sa volonté au profit du désir de son ambition, on développera une chose, l'ego. L'ego qui amènera à encore s'individualiser, restreindre la communauté, de pouvoir créer énormément de résultats progressifs encore. On doit développer aujourd'hui ses compétences réellement, optimiser, mettre de la valeur sur soi-même, faire lever et augmenter ses facultés psychologiques, mentales, pour pouvoir s'adapter et s'ajuster dans l'ère actuelle dans laquelle nous sommes et profiter exactement de toutes les opportunités, des probabilités qu'on va créer pour créer du résultat. On doit gonfler les capacités physiques que l'on a, c'est-à-dire au travers le sport, peu importe si c'est de l'activité sportive, peu importe si c'est juste de la volonté d'aller créer quelque chose pour se sentir bien, peu importe si c'est de la performance à travers des athlètes, peu importe si c'est pour soi, pour des petits objectifs ou des grands objectifs, mais pour pouvoir faire des choses différentes, pour obtenir des résultats différents. Et au travers le sport, on peut le faire à tous les niveaux, que ce soit collectivement, que ce soit individuellement, mais basé sur des objectifs personnels pour pouvoir rendre quelque chose de meilleur dans un collectif. Et le sport amènera justement à déjà comprendre le point dans lequel nous sommes aujourd'hui, savoir si réellement on est à la hauteur des aptitudes de ce que l'on revendique au niveau de sa communication ou pas, mais de pouvoir prendre le lead et de se réaffirmer à être capable de réinvestir sur soi, pour pouvoir réévaluer. Il n'y a pas de honte à avoir d'être à un niveau, mais l'intelligence aujourd'hui, c'est pas de simplement bombarder à tout va la théorie qu'on a appris par cœur, parce qu'on ne va pas créer de résultats qui sera basé sur l'accomplissement, mais uniquement sur l'activité. Et on se fatiguera énormément lié à ça. Donc c'est, 1, prendre conscience de la responsabilité qu'on a quand on est dans un institut, les objectifs qu'on a associés à sa vision, à la possibilité de réellement pouvoir mettre à disposition le résultat qu'on veut escompter, faire créer, partager, profiter pour soi-même mais pour les autres, et de s'investir. Créer plus de discipline, avoir la volonté et la clarté de comprendre qu'aujourd'hui, une des priorités sur laquelle on doit s'investir, c'est son niveau de concentration personnelle pour pouvoir amener à générer plus. Parce que la plupart des gens ou des institutions aujourd'hui sont focalisés sur l'état de se mettre des probabilités de disposition à la diversité. Et aujourd'hui, si on crée de la diversité, on est occupé à trouver une occupation vacante, à se distraire. Et la distraction va amener uniquement une source de plaisir, mais ce plaisir-là va en fait camoufler la totalité d'une plénitude qu'on a à investir son temps sur soi, ou dans l'institution, ou l'organisme dans lequel on est, pour générer du mieux. On doit créer du mieux. Ça, c'est notre responsabilité personnelle. Et si on veut l'idée par l'exemple, c'est déjà prendre conscience que de là où on est, avec ce que l'on a, maintenant, on peut créer énormément de choses. On va se développer dans l'entraînement, et c'est une des premières caractéristiques que l'on a quand on s'investit dans un sport, peu importe lequel. Le sport va générer de la santé, le sport va générer de l'énergie, le sport va générer de la vitalité, le sport va générer du bien-être, parce qu'on crée du bien-être, parce qu'on se voit progresser. Et quand on se voit progresser, on peut pointer du doigt quelqu'un et se dire « t'as pas d'excuse ». Ou on peut voir que dans une institution, il y a un manque de vitalité, donc on doit remettre de l'énergie. Et plus vous mettez de l'énergie dans un collectif, plus vous augmentez les aptitudes de possibilités, de capacités d'un organisme pour créer d'autres objectifs. Avant, ce qui était accessible ne sera plus accessible de la même manière, parce que ce ne sera plus un objectif, ce sera simplement une normalité naturelle, parce qu'on amène un groupe à devenir meilleur, individuellement par sa responsabilité, mais collectivement par l'envie d'arriver à un résultat cohérent. Et on le fait depuis Genève, on le fait depuis la Suisse, on le fait dans toute l'Europe, on le fait avec d'autres organismes. On touche non pas seulement le domaine sportif, mais des systèmes distincts d'activité sur le management, sur le monde carcéral, sur les problématiques liées à la jeunesse, sur le problème lié à tout ce qui est sociabilité, la communication. On amène de la valeur ajoutée par rapport à des programmes de formation que l'on fait par exemple avec Tilt, donc qui suit de près l'Institut Emotional Wellbeing Institute. Si on prend la nomination d'un mot, un mot c'est chargé de plein de choses, mais quand on dit Emotional Wellbeing Institute, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Ce n'est pas simplement le nom d'une enseigne d'une institution, c'est un message bien défini qui correspond à une totalité qui amènera une sommité de progrès basé sur l'évolution d'un accomplissement, mais en amenant la responsabilité de chaque personne à se poser une seule question. Pourquoi je devrais faire un petit peu plus tout le temps pour me sentir un tout petit peu mieux? Parce que quand je me sens un tout petit peu mieux et que je prends l'habitude de me sentir mieux, même si c'est une fois, 2 fois, 3 fois par jour, et que je crée cette habitude-là, et que je le renouvelle, et que je l'intègre, et que je mets à disposition plus de facultés, plus d'engagement, plus de ceci, plus de cela, dedans, on créera plus de résultats. Et ça devient viral. C'est comme un virus, comme une bactérie. Je travaille aussi dans divers milieux médicaux où on travaille sur la bactérie. Et c'est un problème. Mais aujourd'hui, la bactérie, il y a un moyen pour la traiter, c'est de la traiter avant même qu'elle puisse s'installer. Et ce que fait l'institution, c'est aussi de la prévention. C'est qu'on amène les gens à avoir suffisamment de conscience pour comprendre que par le mouvement, par le sport, par l'introspection envers soi-même, on met de la valeur et on comprend ce qui ne va pas, on anticipe si la cohérence de sa vision avec son état neuro-émotionnel et sa partie d'énergie physique correspond à la réalité de là où on est pour là où on veut aller. Donc, si j'ai un message simple à faire passer aujourd'hui, parce que c'est le but aujourd'hui, de faire passer un message très simple, c'est que chacun se pose une fois la question, même ne serait-ce qu'une seule fois par jour. Comment je me sens là, maintenant? Si vous vous sentez bien, on continue. S'il y a quelque chose qui ne va pas, il faut être capable de mettre le doigt dessus, d'aller toucher là où ça fait mal, d'extraire la réalité de la cause de ce qui a créé la problématique et d'en sortir une solution. Et pour en sortir une solution, il faut savoir qu'on doit reconnaître qu'il y a quelque chose qui est dérangeant en nous. Mais ce n'est pas une fatalité, Ce n'est pas une finalité, c'est un résultat. Parce qu'on a créé une attitude, c'est-à-dire les paramètres psychologiques qui nous amènent à créer une réaction neurochimique dans le corps pour créer des pensées, et la physiologie va s'associer et s'allier à l'état émotionnel, et le corps va suivre et va vous représenter au niveau de votre charisme, votre attitude et de ce que vous représentez au niveau de votre caractère. Mais ça, c'est un leurre. Et il y a un mythe aujourd'hui qui est que si vous utilisez la force d'un mot basé sur l'association d'une émotion pour vous définir aujourd'hui, vous allez vous mettre en porte-à-faux. Et la base et le message porteur de Emotional Wellbeing, c'est de travailler de l'intérieur par introspection, de mettre le doigt réellement où ça fait mal, d'en extraire la réalité par ce qu'il en ressort, d'accord, et de créer une solution individuellement par rapport aux ressources que vous avez en vous, que j'ai en moi, que chacun de nous a, et par le collectif d'intelligence, créer quelque chose qui fonctionne et qu'on puisse mettre au profit d'une duplication qui sera pour la jeunesse, pour les adultes et pour toute forme d'organisme, mais avec un grand sens de l'honnêteté, c'est-à-dire que quand ça ne va pas, ça avoir suffisamment de responsabilité et de connaissance envers soi-même pour répondre à une simple question. Pourquoi ? Le comment va se développer dans la technique, comme on reparlait, pas sur l'inactivité. Même si on se trompe, ce n'est pas grave. On doit développer dans la technique l'action, le mouvement et l'initiative des choses avec suffisamment de passion. C'est-à-dire que je crée mon activité basée sur ma vision, ma clarté des choses, l'engagement lié au profit de vouloir créer ceci pour cela. Donc, 1, j'assume ma responsabilité de là où j'en suis pour aller là où je veux aller. 2, je mets suffisamment d'énergie et de détermination basée sur un entraînement qui correspond. Peu importe le sport, il faut être dans le mouvement, dans l'activité. On doit travailler autant ses muscles, je dis bien à un niveau bien sûr proportionné, que son cerveau. Il y a un muscle émotionnel qui se travaille là-dedans pour faire gonfler son cœur. Quand on a un grand cœur, on peut faire plein de choses. On traverse toutes les choses. Rien n'est figé. Tout passe. Il n'y a pas de finalité, il n'y a pas de fatalité, c'est un résultat. Un résultat se transforme parce qu'il est la sommité de la cause de plein d'éléments qui ont créé ceci. Donc si je dois mettre une synthèse à mon message d'aujourd'hui, c'est prenez réellement la responsabilité de pouvoir trouver des bonnes questions pour comprendre que le comment est uniquement basé sur l'expérience de l'activité, mais pas basé sur ce que vous êtes ou ce que l'institution est. On transforme un résultat en répondant à pourquoi j'ai commencé, et ça va créer le déclencheur de l'excitation, du pic d'énergie de quand vous avez commencé et pourquoi vous devez finaliser en ramenant à l'intérieur de ceci tout ce que vous aurez besoin, que ce soit des gens, de nouvelles compétences, un nouvel organisme, de nouvelles informations, de nouvelles formations et des programmes qui correspondent à la réalité. Soyez forts, soyez responsables. On doit être fort aujourd'hui. On est au 21e siècle, tout va très vite. Ça n'a jamais été aussi simple maintenant que de pouvoir réussir à un très haut niveau. Mais ça, c'est proportionnel à chacun individuellement. Mais aujourd'hui, c'est notre responsabilité. Les gens nous regardent, on veut créer du mieux, il faut générer du mieux. On doit être meilleur personnellement. On ne peut pas se baser sur la théorie pour créer de l'amélioration. On doit se créer sur la réalité et la loyauté dans toute forme d'activité aujourd'hui, c'est le résultat. Mesdames, Messieurs, merci.
Merci. Merci, Monsieur Noadibus. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Kassar.
First of all, I would like to start.
Please push the button for the mic. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. I would like to start first of all by thanking the press club and the people that's come out today for your support and for your interest in emotional well-being. And I will thank the Emotional Wellbeing Board for their hard work. And once again, like the professor said, it's been a very strong team and it's been working so hard. So I really thank everybody for their hard work. My area is basically it's about emotional well-being. What is emotional well-being? Obviously, it's about humanity, a holistic approach about human beings. Human beings have emotions, and basically it's what every day we function based on these emotions. And if we can't, if our emotions are being disturbed or stressed, we're not going to function in the day, even at work, in schools, education, and so on and so on. So my area is about, as a disabled person, I have a disability, and I have worked in a number of areas in disability advocacy, worked with the oldies, and obviously the young disabled. And I was an advocate for quite some time in Australia, working in that area. My concentration is about iatrogenic. The iatrogenic is basically how we perform to achieve in the disability sector, and the right of a person with disability. And the way we treat people with disability today is basically it's everybody's interest, because people with disability are the most vulnerable, and they have families. And basically how we treat a person in the disabled sector or the elderly is basically, it's reflecting on their day-to-day of their normal families' lives. And we're also advising, part of the emotional well-being, we're advising on a systemic abuse in disability. So we are advising in a number of, there's been established a Royal Commission in some countries, and we are advising the Royal Commission into systemic abuse, by example, mistreatment of the disabled under in facility care, or basically misbehavior by staff or members that deal with people that are vulnerable, that normally actually. So what we normally will be looking at as well today is the ability of a disabled person. We look at the disability as in word, and we eliminate the person's ability just by saying he has a disability. In fact, a person with disability might function better than other people in the community in aspect that they have interest in. By example, in Australia, there's an NDIS program that actually facilitates programs for people with disability. In these programs, they actually concentrate on people's ability, not their disability. But they do concentrate on people's disability in order to facilitate for their ability, which is, it's a great program. It's been going on for a number of years now, and we're fully part of the emotional well-being. We also advised on the program of the enhancement of the program for the actual people to embrace, the disabled people to go back to work, to embrace the community. And this is our goals in my area, is to enable the disabled person in order for him to have a normal life through the emotional well-being programs and through our advisory board, basically is to give him a tool, a mechanism, in order for him to have a disability, but at the same time is to function and work with that disability. And we've seen a number of cases where people were dramatically disabled. We followed up with these cases, and we followed up with these processes. And then we've seen these people today become a very great role model figures. And our goals is to see more often people with disability putting this disability aside and empower them in order for them to get back to work. Accountability is how we facilitate for the disabled person to give him his rights. Emotional well-being focuses on emotions of the disabled, basically, and basically the carers of the disabled. By example, the advocacy people that work with the disabled people, and the advocates that actually have the 24-hour care for the disabled people, and obviously how the system actually treats the disabled people. And basically, if we can, they say happy people, happy world, or happy people, happy government. In order for us to appropriately put the cost into a proper resolutions, we look at, if we have a good society and a happy society, obviously our costs are going to be eliminated in how we go out and spending. Obviously, this is a big interest for governments. If the governments pay attention into what we're trying to do here, is it basically, long term, it will eliminate the dramatic cost in how they do things and how they fund things, and how actually operate. Through the emotional well-being programs, I think we have a mechanism through a number of programs that we written out, and one of them is also a doctorate by the professor here. He can explain about. But the other one is about people with disability and facilitating for people with disability into accountability. And basically, that's our concentration in today's work. And I thank you very much once again for coming out. And I will give the floor back to the. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I think I will give the floor to Professor Basseer because he has a message to read maybe from there. Yes.
Just put this slide on.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Please push.
Yeah, just very, very briefly, what we have created is different cluster groups in different parts of the world, and each cluster group has a director. For example, Yannick is a cluster director for Eastern Europe. Lamine is a cluster director for Western Africa, and Ali is a cluster director for the Gulf region. I'm going to introduce you to the fourth cluster person, cluster director. His name is Professor Sundaram Sivamali. We are very national, international here when you look at our culture. I was born in Mauritius, but I left Mauritius when I was still a young guy. I'm still a young guy. Went to the UK to study and lived there in the UK for about 19 years, and then went to Australia. I'm still in Australia at the moment, where I did some further education and so on and so forth. So I've got multinational background, and Yannick is also very multinational. He's European, and Yannick from Africa, and Ali from the Gulf region, and also Australia. Now, Sundaram, Professor Sundaram, he has got a Malaysian background, but he has traveled quite a bit. He speaks different languages. He speaks obviously English. He's actually based in England. Based in Australia. He is a commissioner for community relation in the state of Victoria, Melbourne. He has also been a professor at James Cook University, north of Queensland, and he's been appointed as a professor of rural health for our institute. He's multilingual. He speaks diverse languages, including Vietnamese and Japanese and so on and so forth. So we are pleased to have him on board. Now there's a small message he asked me to pass on to you, and his apologies here. He's not able to come here. He just says, hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and dignitaries. Today is an important and historical day for the Emotional Wellbeing Institute. Although I'm not in person, but my mind and emotions are with you. Please accept my apology. Now, we specialize in different areas, and Sundaram is concentrating on the emotional well-being of indigenous Australians and also indigenous individuals, people of other countries. When we talk about indigenous, it's a combination of Australians and Australian Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islanders. And he says, at present, the indigenous Australians still suffer from poor emotional well-being in contrast to non-indigenous Australians. Decreased emotional well-being relates to mental health concerns, and the person can experience stress, anxiety, depression, and so on, and subsequently lead to poor general health. That has been an experience of mine as well. I was a national director in Australia, government-appointed position, foundation director, to develop strategies and framework for indigenous social emotional well-being across Australia and Torres Strait Islands. And the program has been very, very successful, still going on. And what Sundaram is saying, it's so relevant. And I came across a lot of individuals who are suffering from mental health issues, psychosocial issues, and so on and so forth. So my role was to create a capacity. My role was to train or prepare future director of that program. The name is Jeeawody, means light, Jeeawody. And the program is still very, very successful, has won a number of significant awards. So Sundaram's interest with the indigenous population, I'm very, very pleased about that. He will be able to continue the work in that particular arena. What he says is there are 761,300 Australian Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islanders, or 3% of Australian population. 1 in 5 Australian Aboriginals live in remote and very remote areas. Medium age, they're a very young population, 21.8. The medium age is only 21.8 for Australian Aboriginal. And the non-Indigenous Australians, 37.6. So there's a vast age difference. And the other message he asked me to pass on is influencing factors for the for low emotional well-being of Indigenous people, such as racism and discrimination, violence, alcohol and drug use, high psychological distress. And these are the key factors negatively impacting or impacts the opportunities to employment, income, and better living conditions. So some demographic, I've just mentioned that. So what should be done or implemented at political level to improve the emotional well-being of Indigenous Australians? Number one, Australian government and non-government networks and partnerships have to be strengthened and supported at all levels of government to identify the Indigenous issues. Issues of Indigenous concern should be tabled at all forums, workshops, conferences, advisory groups. And thirdly, the current existing Indigenous Australian disparity should be tabled as prime importance for all Australians at local, state, national, and government level. And the role for Emotional Wellbeing Institute, there is a gap between the Indigenous people and the non-Indigenous citizens across many countries in the world. We have Indigenous people, not just in Australia, in New Zealand, in Northern Europe, Northern America, Canada, in the Pacific Islands, and so on and so forth. So we got everywhere. Even in Mauritius, they are not Indigenous, but the Creole group. They went to Mauritius as slaves initially, but the difficulties they have faced are in some instances very much like the Indigenous people. So the Emotional Wellbeing Institute has a significant and immediate role. It can conduct workshops to identify and quantify the low-level emotional well-being of the Indigenous Australians that exist at present. Thus, evidence-based information can lead to highlight the need to improve the emotional well-being of Indigenous Australians prior to improving their emotional well-being health status. So thank you very much, Sundaram, for your message. We appreciate that, and we're looking forward to his contribution. And like I said, his role is the cluster director for Southeast Asia, which includes countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, East Timor, and places like that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. So maybe we can open the floor to questions, maybe.
Sorry, before that, can we invite Lamine to say a few words about our absentee?
Okay.
Asiatu is not
no
here,
problem.
but there's a message from her as well. Thank
Okay.
you.
Please.
Merci, Monsieur le Directeur. C'est pas facile de parler au nom de quelqu'un. Je vais juste la présenter. C'est une de nos membres qui devait être là ce matin, mais elle vient de mission de la Guinée. Elle est très très malade. C'est pour ça qu'elle n'a pas pu assister. Asiatu elle s'appelle Madame Asiatu Diallo. Elle est infirmière professionnelle avec une expérience de 30 ans à l'hôpital cantonal de Genève. Elle est présidente et fondatrice de l'association d'entraide médicale Guinée, qui est une association sans but non lucratif qui contribue à l'amélioration des offres aux services en matière de santé aux populations vulnérables et démunies en République de Guinée. Ces domaines de prédilection sont les suivants: la santé, la femme, l'enfance et l'environnement. Il y a aussi le jumelage, en fait, et le renforcement des capacités, réseautage. Asiatu, depuis quelques années, elle est en train de construire un centre immense en Guinée, centre qui servira de tout ce qui est mise en action, de plan d'action de son association. éventuellement, elle est sur les dernières phases. C'est un centre qui est d'une capacité extrêmement immense, qui pourra quand même profiter éventuellement sa collaboration avec l'organisation, l'Institut EWBI, parce que n'oublions pas, sa spécialité c'est la santé, et quand on parle de santé, on ne peut pas l'oublier. Elle est en quelque sorte, elle est vraiment désolée de ne pas être là cet après-midi. Nous ne pourrions pas dire grand-chose sur elle, dans la mesure où c'est très très difficile de parler au nom de quelqu'un, mais ce que nous savons d'elle, elle est membre active, elle est aussi, disons, représentante aussi en qualité de personnel de santé pour l'institution EWBI. Merci de votre attention.
Merci.
Merci pour ces dernières précisions. So thank you for the presentation. Maybe we'll open the floor with a few questions. As we don't know your institute now, could you maybe tell more about the foundations, the people participating, maybe the financing, and how it works, concretely, because it's not so easy to have so many world directions and how it gather. You are the founder, Mr. Professor, so yes, it's we do we do like to know a little bit more about the initiative. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll start off with finance.
Yeah.
Like any new organization needs finance.
Yeah.
We support. We do have a framework, but that's evolving, and part of the framework is our foundation. So we're hoping that there will be donation, there will be support internationally, and most importantly, the word CSR, corporate social responsibilities. I'm hoping that industries, organizations, as part of their CSR, part of their corporate social responsibilities, they may be able to commit a certain percentage of their profit. Like I said earlier on, as part of my presentation, emotional well-being is not just my business, or it's not just the Emotional Wellbeing Institute business, it's everybody's business, yours, mine, and ours. So that's, to answer your question, that's one. Now, you are right, it's very difficult. It's overwhelming to achieve so many things in one go. But like I mentioned, that we need to have a pebble. On voit avoir le caillou. The caillou, we have got a pond, the world is a pond, where do we start? And my observation is there are lots of organizations, lots of activities going on, and my understanding is the world should improve. It should be parallel. But there are lots of organizations running, whether it's non-government organizations, voluntary organizations, universities, and so on and so forth. Lots of people are doing different things. But why are we still lagging behind? That's my critique, that's my observation. So something probably is not right. So if we are committed to advancing, the result should be parallel. It's not. So that's a concern. So hence, we need to embed that, include that in our framework. So it is in our framework. Ali mentioned a professional doctorate program, Doctorate in Emotional Wellbeing, which I'm developing in conjunction with different universities. So the emotional well-being doctorate is not like a PhD. A PhD is by virtue of completing one big thesis. It can take 4, 5, 6 years, up to 10 years. But this is an emotional well-being professional doctorate program. And it's going to be short-term project work, programs, well-researched, evidence-based, rather than having one big thesis. And have got about 97 prospective candidates at the moment, from medical to business to finance people and so on and so forth. What they will be doing is to study, is to research issues about emotional well-being within their own work situation, our own department. Okay, so if there's a gap through their studies, they will come up with solution. And their assessment is not going to be by examining their thesis, but really their assessment will be based on what impact they're going to be creating. So can you imagine if you have got 97 candidates at the moment, if they do 3 projects each, 3 multiplied by 97 is quite a large number of, so they're going to be making difference on an ongoing basis. So that's a plan I have. and that will be part of that. And also we are creating what we call cluster groups in different parts of the world. At the moment we have got 4 cluster groups, and we have placed 1 director each of the cluster group. So the ripple will be created in different parts of the world through the directors. And each person here, we've got 3 directors now, and then Sundaram is another director. Okay, so through them we're working in different regions. We also got a director of media. He's a media training, media training. And he's a professor as well, professor of journalism. We are very lucky to have him on board. He's of Chinese background. And his major interest is creating or promoting positiveness, emotional well-being through journalism. When I look at newspapers, when I look at media, very high percentage of what we report is very negative, is very traumatic. So he's hopefully going to change that. Plus we got disciplines and we got community work, and so I can go on and say some more, but just a snippet, just 1 or 2 examples of what we have in the framework.
Okay, maybe a second question. What are the philosophical background of your Wellbeing Institute? Is it related to science or psychology, as I can guess, or is it linked to religious beliefs or not? I don't know. So what is the...
Okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely not religious based. Definitely not. It's definitely not political based.
Yeah.
And a word I used earlier on is pluralistic, is eclectic. So when you look at the world, we have different elements, different components of happiness, if you like, fulfillment. So we have tried to, we are developing what we call elements, different elements to bring it together in that particular framework. It's educational based, it's best practice based, it's research based, it's community based, civil society based, it's academic based. We have got different programs, degrees, and so on and so forth. And it's also multicultural based. We are hoping to establish link with a multi-faith, international global multi-faith organization, so that every faith will be part of that. We are very conscious of the needs of special groups like women, children, disability, people with mental health issues, Aboriginal issues, and so on and so forth. We are developing association with the South Pacific region at the moment, and we do have a person, I won't mention name at this stage, whereby they're going to be part of this indigenous group looking at that. So there are different elements. So we are not religious, we are not political, we are very independent. We are truly, truly concerned with the emotional well-being of individuals. We want to see, the groups, the communities, the nations flourishing. Yes, I know it's a big task. It's a big task, but at least we have started, yeah. Okay.
It's very ambitious. That's great.
Well, you have to be ambitious. Look, so many people in the world who have done so well, not change the world, but we have contributed to substantially in the world. They faced difficulties. They had ambitious project, but they achieved that. So we need to have somewhere. I'm not going to be pushing this project by myself. That's why I'm very conscious of establishing a very, very solid collegiate team to work together. We have got a different national person here. We have got different age groups. We have got different religious faith background. We also got people from different academic background, different work-life experiences. And most importantly, we have people who can work together well and share their skills and so on. So that's a major task for me at the moment as president. I just don't want to develop something for my gain, but it's for the world's gain.
Okay.
All right?
Thank
so
you.
that's the philosophy.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, please push the button for the mic. Yeah.
Would like to add to Professor's. Yes, just in response to the question, we are, religion is part of the emotional well-being in a different way. We are concentrating on bringing parts of all religions and combining them in one aspect in order to establish a working program for the emotional well-being to work with all these groups. We have started with the Christian organizations in Australia, and also here I've met a few Christian Baptists in Geneva, and we've worked with some people from the mosque after the New Zealand massacre, and we also I met a Jewish person as well from the Jewish community. So the emotional well-being is not based on religion, but it has got religion, and it's a big aspect of it in it, because we believe in success. The emotional being success, it's going to involve everybody, and by everybody's involvement, that means everybody in religion. So basically, we're not concentrating on one religion, but we are generally open to all religions, and we are writing a program at the moment, currently writing a program how all religions can actually sit there and work their way out in enhancing community together. It is a big task, it's not easy, but it is one of our goals. Long-term goals is to achieve that, and I think it's one of our important long-term goals is to achieve that, because today we see a lot of religions and they're very, very strong in their belief, obviously in their emotion, in their belief. And in order for us to understand and be a successful organization, we have to understand their religion as well. And part of my research and study in Australia, I've studied Christianity, I've studied Muslim, I've studied a bit of the religious of the Jewish people. I interacted with communities for 7 years, and it was a hell of a research, but I benefited from that research to understanding the holistic approach to approach religious leaders and to understand them and to put them on the table with other leaders. And this is very important for us, is to have them all together as combined as one, not as basically in individuals, in individual sectors. And basically we would like everybody to understand that emotional well-being, its goals is to bring the world in a way where we're all operating together, not operating separately. Basically achieving peace is for everybody's on the table. It's not just an individual. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Other questions from the audience or remark? Yes, okay. Push the
Thank you very much. I'm really appreciated all your effort today. I would like to ask a question for the future, because when I listened to all of you with different aspects, and on one side it's the individual part and it goes to community on the rise. I mean, I wonder if it is in your agenda. I mean, after post-armed conflict situation, there is a reconciliation process, dear Professor Basseer, you know very well on the human rights issues. Can you tell me if you want to make a kind of difference on the classical reconciliation and your actions with the Institute? Reconciliation process, classical post-armed conflict.
Yeah. Well, that's a big question. We would like to. We have to start from the most basic areas. And personally, I have been coming to the United Nations Assembly, and I have met a lot of people from diverse backgrounds, from different countries where there are conflicts, and they have asked me to get involved in discussions and so on and so forth. The area of conflicts I'm most interested in. I also gave an interview for the Al Jazeera television soon after my presentation there. And the two messages I passed, one was, the humanistic area. We have to be concerned for human being in whatever conflicts we have. The people, the area, the most lose out is the people, okay? So we have to be concentrating on that. And if we don't address that now, we are creating a group of people who are very badly traumatized. We are talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, if you like. It's a long life issue, long-term issue, and we have to address that here and now. If not, then the people who are affected now through conflicts and so on, they will remain affected. So that's my concern. The other thing is, I use the word iatrogenic again, the harm we're creating to each other through our value system and so on. And the big message I passed was the amount of money we're spending, the amount of resources we're spending, why can't we divert those resources towards helping humanities. Okay, that's one area which would like to participate in. And the other thing is, the message I passed on, there is no winner. If we carry on doing what we're doing now, there is no winner. Everybody is going to lose out. It's a lose-lose situation. I would like to see is a win-win situation, and that's a message I found out. And personally, as part of this institute, I would like to see a scenario, I would like to generate a scenario, we would like to generate a scenario whereby it's a win-win situation, whatever you do. Yeah, unless you have a win-win situation, then you can guarantee a flourishing society. But at the moment, based on my personal observation, my knowledge, we have created a lose-lose scenario, and that's continuing. Conflict is continuing. At the end of the day, people are continuing to become affected. I know it's a big task, but it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And I would love to use more of a positive psychological approach, look at the positive side of things rather than negative and creating more conflict. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, please push the button now.
In regarding a response in the conflict zone, is that the question, wasn't it? We would like to get involved. Part of the emotional well-being strategies as well, long term, is to get involved in the conflict zone in rehabilitation programs in the refugee areas. We have contacted few agencies in Lebanon. I have contacted few agencies in Turkey on the borders, and I am in the process of actually trying to work a platform with the professor in order for us to do a workable workshop with these refugees, and especially today on the new refugees from Iraq. There's a high interest for us to get involved in these areas. We've had a great success with the Lebanese team. They're very happy with the program and they would like to implement it. So Lebanon, it looks like it's going to go ahead. And basically what we want to do is move on from Lebanon to Iraq, Turkey, and wherever there's our abilities to train the trainers at camps or in the refugee in order for them to understand how the vulnerable are being treated, and to train the trainers how to treat the vulnerable at these stages. And basically at longest, our achievement or what we would like to achieve is a very sane aftermath. Thank you.
Add, as part of what Ali is saying, we have already started schooling system in refugees camp, all right? When you look at young children, they are not getting the normal education in normal schools. So they are deprived of culture, language, food, sport, whatever. So we have started like a school, in-house school, with volunteers to actually help children through that educational process, teaching them languages like English, French, and so on, some cultural. If they stay there for a long period, they're losing out on their culture, so, and so on. So to prevent further harm. Now, based on my research, I'm going to use a term, critical stage of development. All children have critical stage of development. If their needs, their emotional needs or educational needs or social needs are not, or cultural needs are not met during those critical stage of development, they miss the boat, so to say, and there would be long-term harm. So we have to be really preventing long-term harm as part of this movement, okay? Nip the bud, like they say in English, nip the bud. If you have a wild grass growing, remove the wild flower so that you don't have any other plants growing. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe a last question from Mrs. and after we will close, yeah.
Sorry, it's not really a question. I was going to make a remark. Outside the conflict area, emotional well-being should be a human right, and it should be part of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of the UN as well as the Charter, and it should also be inscribed in the constitutions of all countries. Therefore, I was going to say that it's a question of governance, setting up new social norms, social environment, new consciousness, human interactions in our technological world, and it doesn't really and the government, the good governance has got something to do with it. It's very important that
Exactly.
political setup is there.
Promoting good governance as well.
Thank you.
Anybody
Okay.
wants to answer that?
Okay, yes, you have a remark? Push the button, please.
About Mr. Lamine. J'ai compris tout l'histoire لسيد علي. أنا سمعت الكلام الرائع اللي تكلموا فيه عشان الحياة وعشان السبور وعشان الرفاهية وعشان الحياة الحلوة، ولكن أنا بعرف المستر أمين، سيد أمين مدعوم من دولة يعني فينا نسميها إذا تسمح لي الإمارات العربية المتحدة. والإمارات العربية المتحدة ما فيها الديمقراطية، ما فيها الرفاهية، في مثلا في مظلومية للناس الأسيا، الخادمات الأسيويات اللي بيشتغلوا هونيك. يعني بنتكلم بحقوق الإنسان ونتكلم بالرفاهية ونتكلم بالسبور ونتكلم بالكلام هذا، كلام حلو، ولكن على الأرض ليس جيد. يعني خاصة السيد الأمين هو ما بعرف، ما هو ممول، يعني ما أدري إذا هذا الكلام هل هو صحيح الكلام هذا اللي سمعناه على الأرض على الواقع أم هو فقط لبروباغندا. وشكرا لك. تفضل.
I can respond
Yes, yes.
in Arabic and I will...
Okay, maybe a short summary, I
translate.
suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
طبعا انه انا الشغل اللي عم نعمله هون نحن بجنيفا، جينا من استراليا. طبعا هذا الشيء يعني اي واحد منكم في يشتغل معنا بهذا الشيء.
أنا بعرفك شخصيا.
طبعا انا شايفك وانا يعني مثل ما قلت لك هلا يعني انه انا شغلي كمان انه هلا بشتغل مع الاخت من لبنان، والبروجرام تبعونا انقبلوا بلبنان، وهلا يعني هسه شوي كمان حنبلش ننزل على لبنان عشان نحن يعني انه نبلش التريننج. بس انه التمويل والشغلات السؤال اللي سالتني اياه انه هذا الشيء انت جديد علي، فاهم علي؟
لا جديد عليك انت، بس انا بعرفه للمسيو امين.
طيب مزبوط.
معلش كيف انا بدي يكون عندي ثقه انا كمواطن عربي
مزبوط.
اسمع الكلام الحلو اللي سمعناه من البروفيسور كم سابيل المسيو
Basseer.
بس
يعني اوكي بس
Yeah.
يعني معلش مختلط الامور لازم
صح.
تبين يعني
مم.
هل هو ممول من دوله الامارات؟ هل هو ممول من السعوديه؟ اذا كان كذلك نحن معروف انه دوله الامارات والسعوديه ما في حريه راي، ما في حريه، في ديكتاتوريه، ما في حريه. بس هذا الكلام اللي نحن بدنا نعرفه بس فقط.
هذا البروجرام تمويل تأسيسه كليته جاي من استراليا، دراسات كلها استرالية، يعني البيس تبعه استراليا.
يعني السيد الامين ما له علاقه في موضوع، يعني انتم اللي قايمين بالامر
Okay. Okay, no more.
طبعا
Maybe.
an opinion.
Yes.
Basically
Question and
the gentleman was asking the structure of the emotional well-being is who's funding the emotional well-being, and it's the right of the public to understand, is the emotional well-being funded by a state like Saudi Arabia or a state by another Emirates or something like that? Just given the general idea, because he wants to understand for his own opinion, is that if it is, and then we have a problem in the emotional well-being. The problem will be that we are citing, he's saying, his answer was, the problem will be we are citing with a state that does not implement human rights and implement emotional well-being, which is an understandable question. And my answer was that this emotional well-being is totally is non-government funded, and totally something new, and it is based on the funder, which is the president, Professor Basseer. He's the funder of this program, and it is based on research in Australia. And we are coming here and picking up anybody that's willing to put his hand out and generate workshop with us and work forward. We are not, we are totally impartial, and all our team members are professionals. And we pick cluster group of our team members very carefully into the point where we have basically, like Yannick, our team member here, he's got a facility where he's got health training and and stuff like that, which are very crucial for our cause and goals. So we just don't bring anybody on board that hasn't got values that can contribute to the emotional well-being. But the question to the gentleman, no, this is not a government funded. We would like all government to participate, no matter what their roles are, given the fact that we can actually, if we can enhance a good workshop for government program in emotional well-being and show them how things are done, and then that government ultimately will fall into human rights cooperation. And this is our long-term goals, is to pave the way, and it's up to anybody, but basically our concentration is the community. The community has a right, and the community has feelings, and we're just trying to pave a way for everybody to get justice and a fair go.
And that's the reason why we have established, or we are establishing cluster groups, so that we're all working together. It's not just one. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good to conclude on this precision. So thank you again. I have understood you will open a kind of office or presence in Geneva.
Yes.
Yes, and so welcome here. And
contributions, donations.
yeah, okay. And we hope you all the best, and thanks to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for